Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we're going to be focusing our attention on a massive winter storm moving through this week, especially during that Tuesday through Friday time frame, which will bring a snowstorm, ice storm, and severe weather threat across the northern and eastern two-thirds of the country. We'll be breaking down those threats through this video and then looking at the long-range weather pattern, the temperature and precipitation trends into early March as well later on in this video. If you guys don't know, the countdown is on to my 1 year of being on YouTube. We're down to 9 days now until March 1st of 2023. I started YouTube on March 1st of 2022. So if you want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button down below, everyone, and also hit the subscribe button to get all of my daily weather forecast updates each and every morning at 9 a.m. on this channel. Definitely much appreciated. But looking out the door this morning, it is cold up across the upper Midwest and southern Canada up here. We got well below zero temperatures, even 40 below for a temperature in northwestern Ontario this morning. But farther to the south, it's all about the mild air down here across the Arclitex. Temperatures are in the low and middle 60s this morning. But looking to the north, where it is colder, up into the northern plains and upper Midwest this morning, we see wind chills down below zero, especially into eastern North Dakota, north central Minnesota, and parts of the southern Canadian provinces as well. We're down to 15 and 16 below up here in the northeastern North Dakota this morning. So do bundle up if you are headed out to work or even some events later on today. But as we go through the day, though, high temperatures will win out up here to the north. We will rebound into the teens and 20s up across North Dakota and northern Minnesota. But farther south, it is a spring preview, guys. We're in the 70s and 80s down here into Texas, Oklahoma, much of the Gulf Coast states, Florida, and the Carolinas, and not too shabby up here across the Ohio Valley either, with middle 50s across those areas. We will start to see the first batch of snowfall move in up here across the Pacific Northwest and the northern plains in conjunction with our next massive storm system moving in as we get into Monday time frame. This will mainly be higher elevation snow, so looking at that, that's just going to be more of a nuisance. But if you guys are with me on the video, don't forget to press that like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get all of this weather information out to as many people as possible, so I would definitely appreciate if you press the like button down below the video. But look at this, a Christmas tree of colors here out west. We have lots of weather alerts out here with winter storm warnings, winter storm watches, where we are anticipating some heavy snow from South Dakota, northern Nebraska through the Twin Cities region and getting into northwestern Wisconsin. Even some wind alerts down here across the southwest where we are expecting damaging winds with this system as it moves onshore. And you can see by early this week, tomorrow on Tuesday, February 21st, we have that trough starting to dig down across the northwestern United States, but yet another trough, smaller one, moving in across the Baja of California. And these two are going to work together to bring a massive trough out west. Meanwhile, we have a significant southeast ridge still maintaining its presence across the southeast through late this week. So we'll have the warmer temperatures out east and then the colder temperatures out west with the clash of air masses in the middle of the country for a massive storm system. So let's first look at the thermodynamics with this system, because this is pretty impressive as well. On Tuesday the 21st, tomorrow, we'll see single digits and teens up here across North Dakota, South Dakota, and upper Midwest here going through the day on Tuesday for high temperatures. Farther south, we could be into the middle 80s, guys, into central and northern Texas, widespread 70s across the central Gulf Coast states and the southeast. That will continue here with those 80-degree temperatures moving east across Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, much of South Carolina, and Florida on Wednesday. But look at the cold air, guys. We got below zero temperatures up here into Montana, the Dakotas, getting into Wyoming on Wednesday, and then that temperature gradient really starts to get more noticeable by Thursday, February 23rd, with widespread single-digit below zero high temperatures across the Dakotas, much of the northern plains and upper Midwest, and then a very strong ridge to the southeast with temperatures in the 70s and 80s down here even pushing 90 down toward Florida and parts of the Carolinas by the time we get on Thursday, February 23rd. But looking initially out west with this system as it moves in today, upper elevation snow up here across Idaho, Montana, getting across Wyoming here around the noon time frame. That will continue more or less through the evening hours, so definitely some nice snowfall up here for some of the ski resorts across the northern Rockies, and then that will actually continue to get a little bit more intense and widespread by the time we get into 6 a.m. on Tuesday, tomorrow morning. Looking at the snowfall over the next 24 hours or so, some decent snows up here, especially into central, western Montana, getting into northern Idaho, and even parts of western Wyoming as well. Going through that Tuesday morning time frame, we could be seeing a couple feet of snow in those higher elevations out there. But looking at a couple inches with a clipper system moving across portions of northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan through the next 24 hours, mainly a 1 to 3 inch snowfall event across most of these areas. But it's also about the wind as well. The next 24 hours, it is going to be very windy across the Pacific Northwest here going through Tuesday morning. Some of these wind gusts in those higher elevations of the Rockies could be pushing 50, if not 60 miles per hour or stronger. So definitely some very windy conditions out there. But as we go through the week, starting tomorrow, we have that trough moving down across the Pacific Northwest, another trough digging down to the Baja of California. These systems will start to phase together, which means they'll conjoin together across the middle of the country on Wednesday, and then that will wreak havoc across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes by the time we get into late this week on Thursday, February 23rd. And this is a fairly significant jet stream as well, so there has a lot of upper level support by Thursday morning with this system, which means it's going to be bringing in lots of moisture, not only from the Pacific Ocean, but also the Gulf of Mexico as these systems phase together here with that trough moving down south and east and another trough moving north and east across the middle of the country. We're going to see some widespread heavy rainfall here, some ice and snow as well, with 2, 3, even 4 standard deviations above climatology for the moisture levels out there. So this will be a moisture-laden system through the middle of the week. So let's track this on Tuesday. We got the widespread heavy snow up here across the northern Rockies. A part of this could be moving into the Dakotas as early as the noon time frame on Tuesday. That will move farther east a little bit as we go into 6 a.m. on Wednesday now. This does include the Twin Cities, central Wisconsin, northwestern parts of Michigan here. And then the heaviest of the snow will be across the north central Rockies, across Wyoming, northern Colorado, getting back toward the Salt Lake City area with very heavy snowfall rates through the Wednesday morning time frame. Wednesday evening now, we're starting to get closer to the peak of the event. Not only will we be seeing heavy snow to the north here, but also a mixture of precipitation. We got the sleet and freezing rain with an ice storm across central Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. This does include the Milwaukee, Madison metro areas, getting back toward Des Moines, possibly at least the northern suburbs of Chicago, and then that stretches over toward Detroit and the Toronto area by 6 o'clock Wednesday evening. All rain and thunderstorms to the south, and then by the time we get to noon on Thursday, all this heavy snow will be continuing across Minnesota, Wisconsin, much of northern Michigan here, including the UP of Michigan, and then that stretches farther east across New England as well. We might have to watch out for some icing over here towards Boston and New York City getting in towards the noon hour on Thursday, but then by the time we get to late this week on Friday, that system will finally start to move eastward with some lingering snow across parts of Maine and Vermont, New Hampshire. Other than that, we'll start to recover from the storm system by late in the week. Looking at the snowfall amounts, again, we're not going to give specific amounts just yet. I think tomorrow's video we will be doing that, but looking first here at the GEFS ensemble guidance, there is a fairly decent shot of over a foot of snow here across those maroon reds here in colors into South Dakota, central and southern Minnesota, including the Twin Cities area, and that stretches over into northern and central Wisconsin, and then even farther east towards interior New England here into portions of Ontario, Quebec, Canada, getting into upstate New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, into western Maine as well through the week. But again, all the way down to the south, it is all heavy rain. But we also have to worry about the ice potential as well. The GEFS model is painting a fairly significant swath, a narrow swath, but a significant swath of over 1/4 of an inch of ice from central Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and then on over toward Detroit. Similar thing here as well on the Canadian guidance, the GDPS. However, it's a little farther north with the ice as well. So the uncertainty is still there with the placement of the ice storm, but there will likely be one as we go through the next couple of days. Looking at the overall winter storm impacts, it's going to be pretty significant, not only across the Rockies here, but also farther north across the Dakotas, northern Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and then that will stretch farther east into New England as well, with at least those minor to moderate travel inconveniences. I do expect to see more major travel inconveniences as we get closer to this event by the middle of the week. We also have to worry about the warm side to the system because there will be plenty of warm air. We got a marginal risk of severe weather on Wednesday. That's a 1 of 5 on the scale here from the Storm Prediction Center. This does include the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here, Texarkana, southeastern portions of Oklahoma, on up toward Little Rock, Jonesboro, Arkansas, the Memphis area, and then farther south, getting closer to Jackson, Mississippi, and northern portions of Louisiana. This includes the Shreveport, Monroe, Louisiana areas on Wednesday. Looking at the setup here, the dew points will be rising well far to the north across southern portions of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio here. So a deep warm sector with this system with dew points in the 60s and a formidable low-level jet as well. So they have a lot of wind energy with this system. But what kind of hinders the severe weather threat a little bit with this setup is the lapse rate here in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And what we mean by lapse rate is as you go up in the atmosphere, the atmosphere naturally cools. But with such a warm setup here, we have the warm air aloft, so you don't have those big, tall thunderstorm clouds that you usually see when the lapse rates are very weak like we see here. So that will kind of limit the severe weather threat overall, but I still do think we have a squall line of some showers and storms with at least a damaging wind threat here with 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail getting through the noon hour on Wednesday. This extends from southwestern Missouri down through portions of Arkansas into northeastern and northern Texas here, and then that will quickly move off to the east and weaken by 6 o'clock on Wednesday. Again, we don't have a lot of those strong lapse rate with the system, so it's going to quickly fall apart as it reaches the Mississippi River by Wednesday evening. My overall severe weather probabilities, low for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hails very low. Again, the lapse rates will not really support much hail with this system. Low for tornadoes here with the low-level jets still there, but again, the lapse rates are not very good with the system. And then flash flooding is going to be a concern with at least a low threat for flash flooding as we go through the next few days. Looking over the total rainfall accumulation from now through next weekend, this system is going to be dropping a fairly large footprint of rain, especially across the Arklatex, getting up through the Missouri Valley and the Ohio Valley as well. Farther to the north, this is going to be all falling as snowfall. This won't be rain, but definitely seeing some heavy snow or heavy rainfall down to the south, and you can see marginal to slight risk for flash flooding on up here into central Illinois, northeastern Missouri, and then that extends over towards Fort Wayne and Gary, Indiana as well, getting in towards that Wednesday and Thursday time frame. So that's the days we have to watch for flash flooding potential here as we get towards later on this week. But looking quickly at the long range weather forecast towards the end of February into the first week in March, it does look warmer down here across the Gulf Coast, and that could linger up here into the Ohio Valley, but more troughs will be digging down across the West Coast. So we're going to see some colder temperatures there, and also lots of active weather underneath those troughs. We're going to see lots of rain and snow, especially for the Sierra Nevadas here on up towards Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and much of the Intermountain West, and then that will translate downstream across the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, getting through the 5th of March. Meanwhile, underneath that, it looks below average across Texas, Oklahoma, and much of the central Gulf Coast states through that first week in March. And it all has to do with that strong upper level support, that upper level jet stream extremes going to be supportive for more troughs and more significant storms potentially getting into that early March period, especially in that first week in March during that 1st through 6th time frame. So that will be something to watch as we get closer. So to recap my weather forecast, a massive winter storm is looming for Tuesday through Friday this week with a snowstorm, ice storm, and severe weather side, especially across the northern and eastern 2/3 of the country. Watch out for that. And then here for the long-range weather forecast here, a temperature and precipitation trends into early March. It looks active. It also looks cold out west with the warmer anomalies across the south and southeast getting into that first week in March. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Monday, everybody, a great President's Day, and I will see you all in the next video.